So Don in question 9 says, well, I would just include the question as to why time of harvest is selected by so many wanderers as time of incarnation. So this is the direction of where Don wanted to ask. So why? Why is harvest attracting so many wanderers? So Ross says, there are several reasons for incarnation during harvest. They may be divided by the terms self and other self. The overriding reason for the offering of these brothers and sisters of sorrow in incarnative states is the possibility of aiding other selves by the lightening of the planetary consciousness, distortions, and the probability of offering catalyst to other selves, which will increase the harvest. So here we're going to explore the different reasons why a wanderer incarnates in third density, actually, but on planet Earth, which is what we're concerned with. Ross says that there are several reasons for incarnation, and we're going to explore them. They may be divided into terms of self and other self, and we're going to see why that is. Now, notice, I know sometimes, and I know because I've read it like this in the past, every time I read self, it seems like it's selfish. Like, okay, we have selfish reasons, and then we have other selves, and then it's selfless reasons. But that's not the context here, and that's why they say self and other self. It's almost like, you're doing it you eat for your stomach, but you're also doing it for your liver and for your brain and for your toes. So it's for the self, the localized self, that is experiencing reality in this time, or in this case, the food is being experienced by the stomach, but that eventually goes into the whole system, into the whole organism. So any experience that is done for the self is always for the other self. So in the case of service to self, the service to self is serving the creator, whether they know it or not. When you're serving others, you're serving yourself as well. So it's always self interacting with self. Much like, again, in the dream, you are interacting with a portion of yourself. You cannot say that the person that you saw in your dream was someone else. It is all in your mind. And I don't want to get into the possibilities, which I know it's true. You can get influence, but that's very deep into how you can have influence, but you are getting, say, influence from another entity that may influence your dreams. However, the influence is going through your mind, and you can see how you are projecting yourself. Again, it doesn't matter if you have another entity in your dream, an angel, a demon, whatever it is that you want to call it. It is through the influence and the sensitivity of your mind that can be manifested. So there's no escape here. There's always a self and another self. So again, that's just my clarification and emphasis on this. This may be divided into terms of self and other self. So this is just for consensual reality that we're going to talk about it. And it's going to make sense as we go through. So the overriding reason for the offering of these brothers and sisters, that would be the wanderers, in incarnative states, in this body form that we have, is the possibility of aiding other selves by the lightening of the planetary consciousness distortions and the probability of offering catalyst to other selves, which will increase the harvest. So by the simple nature of wanderers being here, there is a natural vibration, an intuition, if you will, that is natural in these entities. And that is like a rock in the lake or in the river. It's causing a sort of distortion to the currents, to the movement of the water. By its sheer presence, it's causing a sort of influence. The same influence we were talking about in the dream. So you can actually think of yourself, if you consider yourself a wanderer, which very likely you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this content, especially in these times where everybody's concerned with the external world. So by knowing this, you know that you are another character in the dream with a specific influence, which we call vibration. That vibration is actually alleviating the load of the distortions of the planet, and the distortions being all this friction that we have against what is coming, what is inevitable, which is the fourth density transition. There is, to me, I don't see it as a way of liberation or as a way of judgment for whatever. It simply is what is. And I don't need to know what it's going to entail, even though we know a lot about it in the raw contact. But all we care is that we are here to do what we can for balancing the planet as it is. So that is the first purpose of a wanderer when it comes here. It has the opportunity, and this is a beautiful opportunity for any wanderer, because it serves the creator. I don't want to say it serves the entity. It serves the creator as a whole, which they are inclined to. This is their direction. Every wanderer has a direction to serve the creator in its own way. And when they're here, they serve the creator by contributing their vibration to the planetary whole. And that is one great reason to be here, especially because with the direction that we were going with planet Earth, I believe that wanderers actually shifted that consciousness by, I don't know, I can't even describe it, but by the amount of wanderers that have been coming here, I believe that's what happened. There was just a huge influx of wanderers that completely shift the direction in which we were going. So it's actually surprising that we are here on planet Earth and we didn't destroy it ourselves, as we actually did in Maldek and in Mars. So we seem to have learned the lesson, or helped learn the lesson, in this Pacific Logos, which was very bellicose, and Raha said before. So, all right, there's more to say, of course. There's more to cover with this answer. And Ra says there are two other reasons for choosing this service, which have to do with the self. The wanderer, if it remembers and dedicates itself to service, will polarize much more rapidly than is possible in the far more etiolated realms of higher density catalysts. So, this is what I would call the specific self, the entity, how that works. Now, the entity is contributing with its own vibration to the environment, but at the same time, just like the rock is contributing to certain distortions and vibrations to the water that is moving the current, in the same way the water is causing some sort of influence into the rock. It's eroding it in this case. Well, in this case, we can say we are eroding our own distortions by allowing this reality to go through us. And this is the other reason why a wanderer would like to come here, because they can alleviate those distortions and polarize even more rapidly than it is far more possible, or that is possible in other etiolated realms of higher density catalysts. This is a phrase that I like to make a little emphasis to. They say the wanderer, if it remembers and dedicates itself to service, that would be a wanderer that has recognized its own nature and dedicates itself to the service of others, will polarize much more rapidly than is possible. Okay, so it'll polarize really fast and with higher possibilities than in other realms, basically, where catalyst is a lot weaker. Let's just put it that way. Etiolated. That's what it means. It means kind of weakened, diluted, sort of pale type of adjective. So in terms of catalyst, that's what they're referring. Now remember, Raha said that in third density, catalyst is 100 times more potent than other densities. So that's exactly what they mean here. You know, in other densities, catalyst is very, very mild, whereas here is a lot potent. So that's what they meant there, for sure. And that is the other reason why Wanderer is here. It's to polarize itself with the amount of catalyst that is available here at the same time that they're being of service. So there is a final reason. Ross says the final reason is within the mind, body, spirit totality, or the social memory complex totality, which may judge that an entity or members of a societal entity can make use of third density catalysts to recapitulate a learning teaching which is adjudged to be less than perfectly balanced. This especially applies to those entering into and proceeding through sixth density, wherein the balance between compassion and wisdom is perfected. So, makes sense. Like I said, we are not a separate self. We are, depending on the density, we can see ourselves more in unity. This is a matter of perspective. Of course, the density allows that by the amount of light and information that is able to be processed by the entity itself. Now, you can see that from the lower densities, the sensation of separation is higher than in higher. Now, what does that mean? That as we go into higher densities, the self is no longer considered a separate self, and that's why Ra is considered a single entity. They are comprised of several entities. They can see, they can still discern them, but they are kind of blurry to them. They don't see much of a difference between them. It's almost like saying, what's the difference between you and your hand? Is your hand you or is it not? Is it a part? Yes, it has fingers. Are the fingers separate from the hand? Well, they're attached. Well, what about the cells that are there? And so on. So in the same way, it is a matter of perception to see the universe as a one living organism. And depending on where you stand, you can see yourself more separated. That's not to say, obviously, that you can't experience unity in this third density body. You can, and you're encouraged to. That is the great lesson. That is the great catalyst that we're going through, is to ignore the information about separation and to absorb that information that comes naturally through the intuition of the mind into unity. So when we go into this, we see that members of societal entity can judge. Okay, so in this case, we're talking about the social memory complex that exists in sixth density. Mainly, they say that this especially applies to those entering into and proceeding through sixth density. Mostly because they're in the balance between compassion and wisdom, which was in the perfection of this balance. Because in fourth density, you're learning the lessons of love, so you're more concerned with the lessons of love. In fifth density, you're more concerned with the lessons of wisdom. Then in sixth density, you're more concerned with balancing. So that means that wanderers who come from sixth density obviously have more pronounced this reason to be here to balance something that is of a social memory complex nature. Now, let me sort of illustrate this to you in a poetic way, so I can try to show its magnificence. Imagine you're an entity representing a social memory complex from whatever region, most likely Ra, could be from Latui, could be from other Pleiades, whatever you feel like you be. Just imagine the amount of entities that you are representing, and that your makeup right now, whoever you think you are, because it's coming out like that, not the separate self, but whatever you feel you are, that self that is coming out. I just made a video talking about my personal history and what I feel comes out. It's just my nature of being this, teaching, expressing, just sharing. Not even teaching, it's just sharing. This is what flows through me, okay? So that's just what I would say is. It's not what I am, it's just what is. So whatever you is, that is. is made for the perfectioning of the social memory complex where you belong. So any distortions that you may have, you may judge yourself as you have a propensity for this, or you have a dislike for that, or you have, something that naturally flows through you, and you say, I can't help it. This is me. And I just hate myself, or I love myself. Whatever it is that you judge about yourself, all of that is definitely a programming which was not understood in your natural or your third density of nature. So that means that in the third density where you graduated from, whatever it was, let's say it was Venus and you're from Ra, and you feel this propensity towards something, is because nobody in your planet was able to experience this. Nobody in your planet was able to balance this. And the social memory complex, as it stands in the now, which is the ever-present moment, that is being balanced by you. So the amount of work that wanderers are doing is just fascinating in so many aspects. So I hope this kind of helps you illustrate a little bit, especially if you feel a wanderer. So you know your purpose and sort of your ideas of why you're here. What are you doing here? And why are you so weird? Why are you so weird? That is the real question. And here are the answers. So